Years old. Elvis was 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did your parents allow a 14-year-old teenager baby to be with this then superstar of...
It was not easy on my parents. You know, first of all, it was just an innocent meeting. And of course, you know, I was excited and I was reluctant because I didn't think they'd ever let me go. But it was just a one-time opportunity. That's all they thought it would be. I never expected him to ask me back. They never expected him to ask me back.
But Elvis did ask you back, and you saw him again and again. And you would get home very late at night and be exhausted the next day when you had to go to school.
Today we're going to take a little break from my usual political videos because I just wanted to offer up a little commentary on the news that R. Kelly's YouTube channels have now been removed from YouTube after being found guilty of his crimes. Now, somebody please answer this question for me in the comment section. Why does Elvis Presley continue to get a pass when it's a well-known fact that Elvis Presley was all shook up over 14-year-olds? In May 2021, over 65 years after she dated Elvis Presley, Dixie Locke Emmons finally published her personal account of her 1.5-year relationship with Elvis. Considered Presley's first serious girlfriend, Emmons started dating Elvis in January 1954. She was 3 years younger than Elvis when she dated the future king of rock and roll. Dixie and Elvis first met at the First Assembly of God Church in Memphis. Since 19-year-old Elvis Presley was too shy to talk to her, high school sophomore Dixie made sure that Elvis overheard her making plans to go to the Rainbow roller skating rink that weekend. When Elvis showed up, Dixie went over to talk to him, and that began their courtship. Question: how many of you all were checking for sophomore high schoolers when you were 19 years old? Now, I don't know about you, but once I got out of high school, there wasn't any looking back for me. But that's besides the point right now. Let's get back into Elvis because this behavior actually continues. On September 13, 1959, during Elvis Presley's army career, he met Priscilla at a party at his home in Germany. At that time, she was only 14 years old and he was 24. Priscilla's parents were upset by her late return home the night of the first meeting and insisted that she never see Elvis again. But his eagerness for another rendezvous and his promise never to bring her home late again led them to relent. Thereafter, he and Priscilla were frequently together until his departure from West Germany in March 1960. Now, I know what some of you are probably saying in the comments section, you can't really trust Wikipedia for this kind of stuff because their sources aren't always accurate. Well, I have the #1 source, Priscilla Presley herself, in her interview with Barbara Walters in 1985 that confirms that everything that I'm saying right now is true.
Years old. Elvis was 24. Right?
Mm-hmm.
How did your parents allow a 14-year-old teenager baby to be with this then superstar of...
It was not easy on my parents. You know, first of all, it was just an innocent meeting. And of course, you know, I was excited and I was reluctant because I didn't think they'd ever let me go. But it was just a one-time opportunity. That's all they thought it would be. I never expected him to ask me back. They never expected him to ask me back.
But Elvis did ask you back, and you saw him again and again. And you would get home very late at night and be exhausted the next day when you had to go to school. And your parents let you go again and again.
It was a very protective relationship from the very beginning. I don't know what it was about him, but he kind of took me under his arm and nourished me in many ways.
You write in your book, you're 14, Elvis would take me into his bedroom, and then we would kiss long, deep, passionate kisses, and his caresses would leave me weak with desire.
Yes?
When you had trouble getting up for classes, Elvis gave you Dexedrine.
Mm-hmm.
First time you'd seen pills.
I didn't know what was going on as far as, you know, pills or what they were, sleeping pills. I mean, he gave them to me to be helpful.
What do you think attracted a 24-year-old star to a 14-year-old inexperienced, or am I telling you just as I say that? Is that what attracted him to you?
The inexperience, yes. I think Elvis had been around Hollywood already. He had already seen Hollywood quote-unquote starlets. So I think in his own mind, he thought, well, I'll just be with someone and teach her as it comes.
And during the day, you got up and went to high school? came home in the afternoon. You said sometimes you'd crawl into bed with Elvis at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and he was just getting up and didn't even know you were gone.
Mm-hmm. I worked that out.
And then you stayed up most of the night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And took pills to go to sleep?
I had to. Because we got home so early in the morning, he would sleep until 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
And even though he wanted you virginal and pure, he dressed you sequins, shiny material, low cut, slit up the side.
After Elvis's return to the U.S., she managed to stay in touch with him by phone, though they would not see each other again until the summer of 1962, when Priscilla's parents agreed to let her visit for 2 weeks. They allowed her to go on the condition Elvis pay for a first-class round trip and arrange for her to be chaperoned at all times and that she write home every day. Elvis agreed to all these demands, and Priscilla flew to Los Angeles. Now here's the important part highlighted in blue. Elvis told her they were going to Las Vegas, and to throw her parents off the scent, he told Priscilla write a postcard for every day they would be away, to be mailed from Los Angeles by a member of his staff. That sounds like an R. Kelly move to me, but let's carry on. It was during this visit while on a trip to Las Vegas that Priscilla first took amphetamines and sleeping pills to keep up with Elvis's lifestyle. So while in Vegas, Elvis got her hooked on drugs as well. Now, what some of you all didn't know is that once Priscilla became of age, Elvis didn't really want anything to do with her anymore. But this is what happened. Shortly before Christmas 1966, Elvis proposed to Priscilla. Accounts suggest that Priscilla threatened to take her story to the press if Elvis refused to marry her, and that her father threatened to have Elvis charged under the Mann Act, taking a minor across state lines for sexual purposes. So essentially, Priscilla and her father basically blackmailed Elvis into marrying her. Now in this next article, I'm going to do a little self-censoring, but if you're reading along with me, you'll see the word. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, was a blank and had girlfriends as young as 14 years old when he was on tour at the age of 22. The shocking revelation was made in a new book titled Elvis Presley, A Southern Life. The author of the book, Joelle Williamson, has said that the singer kept a group of 3 14-year-old girls with him on tour who were up for pillow fights, tickling, kissing, and cuddling, according to Vice. Elvis Presley, A Southern Life, also mentions multiple episodes of Elvis engaging young girls to perform for him by mud wrestling in white panties and spying on couples having sex in one of his Hollywood houses by installing a two-way mirror in a bathroom. Now here's the Vice article being referenced to, titled, Elvis was the king of treating women like blank and luring 14-year-olds into bed. Mind you, this article here on Vice was written in 2016, okay? People have known about this for decades now. Understand, this video isn't about caping for R. Kelly. It's about equality and justice. The powers that be want to erase people like Bill Cosby and R. Kelly completely out of existence, yet when Harvey Weinstein and Elvis Presley commit the same crimes, their art, their music, and their movies get to stay up and be remembered as classics. Now all of a sudden you're talking about separating the man from the art. But let that man be black, now there's no separation. We gotta erase the whole catalog out of existence. Now you all can do what you want concerning R. Kelly, but as for me, I can separate the man from the art just like everybody else does. Slow dance is still hitting in 2021. I don't care what anybody says. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a direct text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as a protection plan for myself in case YouTube ever gives this channel the axe. I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that helps put me in position to be able to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And lastly, if you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will also be pinned in the comment section below as well. And with all that being said, thank you for your time. And until the next video, peace.